Welcome to Bokeh, a podcast exploring the ever-blurring lines between the personal and business lives of professional photographers. This is your host, Nathan Holritz, and I'm so excited to have you join me in connecting with photographers and entrepreneurs in the photography industry as we discuss photography, building a business, and still having a life through it all. This podcast is brought to you by Photographers Edit, custom post-production for the wedding and portrait photographer. And now, let's dive into conversation. All right, so I'm sitting here in the living room / dining room, living space of Nathan and Ashley Seiner. I'm pronouncing your name correct. Yes. Awesome. All right. Thank you guys for doing this.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're excited to chat.
Well, and we were just talking about nerves before, in this case, doing a podcast, but even for me getting ready to speak in front of a group as a kind of an introvert myself, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking. The cool thing about this is we're just having a conversation. And to make it even a bit more real, this is the first time that I've actually had the opportunity to get to connect with you guys in person. Yeah, so we're just getting to know each other, and we're just going to let everybody else kind of join that conversation. Yes. But tell us a little bit about yourselves, your photography business. First of all, where are you based? Where are we right now?
We are in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yes.
Yeah, we're on the north side of Indy in Fishers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And with the photography industry being what it is now, there's so many different people coming into it, especially a lot of new photographers. How are you guys setting yourself apart? What's the brand statement or position here in the indie market?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things I feel like that we've really honed in on and that's kind of set us apart in our industry, in Indianapolis is just we take a huge effort as far as getting to know our clients on a personal level. It's really important to us. We have found that through our own personal experience of getting married, our photographer was wonderful, but it was a very awkward experience for us because we'd never met him. We showed up. He just kind of let us wing it. We're not models. We didn't know what we were doing. So for us, we've kind of taken two different approaches. One is that we want our clients to know us and it be personal for them so that on the wedding day, it's like old friends are taking their pictures, not this random, couple who shows up they've never met before. That is not kind of the experience we want to leave them with. And then also another thing that kind of sets us apart is we take a lot of more hands-on approach as far as coaching and guiding our clients in the posing process. Because I felt like that was a huge awkward part of our experience was he'd be like, act natural. And Nathan and I are like, well, we don't frolic through the woods, on a regular basis. Right. So that's weird. So those are, I think, the two things that kind of have set us apart. But mainly just we want our clients to walk away not just getting quality photos because that's expected. You're paying us to create beautiful imagery. That's expected. That's a given. But we want you to walk away raving more about your experience with us and the impact that we had in your life in that small time that we got to know you than not, more than even the photos themselves. So I think that's kind of our passion and goal in every client experience, and something that sets us apart.
Now, you made a lot of great points there. We could kind of touch on all of these different points. But one that really stuck out to me was the fact that good photography is expected.
Absolutely.
Almost a commodity, right? Mm-hmm. It's obvious that you should be providing good photography.
Yes.
But you're creating a different experience for the clients, one that they're not used to. Now, this is a conversation that has been happening for a while in the industry as people are becoming more open-minded to the notion of sharing so-called photography secrets or business secrets, what really ends up setting these businesses apart is not a different knowledge, but a different experience. Mm-hmm. And you guys are proactively trying to create that different experience, which is great. Other businesses are doing the same thing. I think maybe where you stand out, though, in that is that other vendors in the wedding industry probably aren't as actively trying to create those experiences. So you have the opportunity to create a lasting impression on these people. Yes. Now, you mentioned earlier, we were talking before we started recording about having dinner with the couple. And to be clear, you doing wedding photography? Do you do any portrait photography as well?
We do some portraits. So we mainly shoot weddings. It's our main source of income, but we do high school seniors as well as family portraits. Just this year, we started cutting back on our family portraits and kind of what we just felt like it was taking us away from our kids because our kids are our number one priority and they're young. And so for us, it was the amount of money we were making for how much time we were away from the kids just did not in our personal circumstances add up or make sense for us. So we started taking about every season we would take at least 2 Saturdays a month that we didn't have a wedding or Sunday that was available. And we've created those as family shoot days so that we're only away from our kids that one day. And then if people would like to use us for family photography, they know that they have these set days throughout the year that are the only days we're available. And if it works, it's great. And if it doesn't, then they can, find someone that it works better for, for them personally. But it's worked great for us of just balancing home and life and really making our kids the priority and realizing that, sometimes you just got to let some business go to make it work for our family. So it worked out great for us. And
it frees us up a lot more for creativity reasons too.
Absolutely.
Because I had noticed, as I'm the main shooter and Ashley's actually come on this year as a second shooter. And that's been an adjustment in itself. We can talk about that a little bit later too. But I just started getting really bogged down with all the shoots and editing at the time and just trying to figure out my creativity in that, and it just became just a production, and then the experience was gone, and we weren't offering our family clients that experience anymore. It was just get them in, get them out, and so when we cut back on that now, and we shoot maybe 20, 30 now a year, we were shooting close to 100 a year, and it's
100 portrait sessions or weddings?
100 portrait sessions.
Okay.
A year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we're consistently at 25 weddings a year is what we try and stay at, and then about 30 to 40 senior sessions a year. But it's just the family shoots were just way too much for me. And then just with having little kids now, and I try and take pictures of my own kids, just trying to chase other people's kids around, it just wasn't fun for me anymore. But yeah, so it's really been able to help my creativity a lot more in the past couple
bring
years.
your passion back, I think, for what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I love a word that I use a lot in conversations with photographers, or beginning to use in these conversations in the podcast with photographers, is the word proactive or proactivity. You guys are very proactive in that effort to create the lifestyle that you want. You knew this is what you wanted for your family. And so in order to get to this place, this is the adjustment or series of adjustments that you had to make. And I love that very proactive mindset. That's really incredible.
That was the main reason we actually started our business back in 2010. I started shooting in 2009. My background is actually in sports marketing and sports management, and I worked for the local university here in town and had a part-time job with the Colts actually too, just working on game days. And I've realized that to move up in that industry, you have to move around a lot. You have to go around the country. I work at different universities. My whole goal is to be the youngest athletic director, Division I athletic director. I've realized that, it's going to take me away from my family a lot. And I'm going to be working, 9 to 5 every Monday through Friday. And then we have games on Saturdays. And then basically Sunday afternoon was it, for me. And I was like, I don't want that life. And so photography kind of fell in my lap back in 2008. We went on a cruise, Alaskan cruise, and I took a point and shoot camera, making the background kind of blurry. I had no clue what that was at the time. And then I got back and got some pictures printed. I went to CVS actually and got a couple pictures printed. I still have them down in my office. But basically, that's what inspired me, was that trip. And just seeing the mountains and all that there. And then when we got back, I put together a website and then kind of launched it from there.
But that was the whole basis, was we wanted a business to where we had the freedom to choose and be proactive, as far as we had kids that we were part of their lives and we could impact them, not so that we could, send them off somewhere, have someone else, be that founding role model in their life. And so for us, it was that was where our priority was, and it was business is second for us. And with that, we at the same time wanted to be business savvy and create, a financial foundation for our family. And so it's a hard balance, but it's something we're really passionate about, of just.
And I think a lot of times that it takes you a little bit longer in your business to grow your business if you put your family first.
Absolutely.
But I don't regret it, at all. But sometimes you look around the industry and you see people, booming really quickly, and that, if you were to put everything into your work, you possibly could do that too. But and so it's a struggle inside of me sometimes. But at the same time, I know that I wouldn't trade time with my kids at this age for anything, because they're only going to be this age once. So, and we have a 5 and 4 year old too. So,
and I want to talk a little bit about your kids here in just a second, but take me back to that client experience. You were talking about taking every one of your bride and grooms out to dinner.
Yeah.
What does that look like, and what is the thought process behind that?
Absolutely. So it kind of, again, I think a lot of our fundamental basics of our business is run off of what we loved and didn't love about our own personal experience. And we just, the very couple of first years of business, we were like, we just feel like there's something missing. Like, we're showing up to shoot these weddings, we're putting a lot of time and effort in, and we try to make them feel comfortable, but it just, there's still this awkwardness. And so we were like, what can we do to change that? And for me, it was like, what do I do with people when I want to get to know them? Or, if there's somebody that's on my radar that I'm like, I really want to dive in with this person, what do I do? Well, we share a meal together. It creates this comfort level and just this just ease, between people. And so we decided, I would say 3 years ago, that like we are going to, like, every single client, if it's possible, we are going to 100% take them to dinner. It's on us. And just share a meal with them and get to know them on a personal level. And
I found it really helps with the grooms a lot.
Yeah.
It opens them up a lot at the engagement session and at the wedding, on the wedding days.
Absolutely.
Like, I walk in and Ashley walks in and starts shooting, and they're like, oh, hey. And the biggest compliment that we got was from a groom when he started telling his mom how to, like, pose. And it was hilarious because we've never had that before we started doing that.
He was like, oh, they've already taught me this. We know this. Mom, here, I'll show you. And it was just funny. But we started putting engagement sessions included in every single collection and dinner. And like those two things have like completely transformed our quality of imagery and just the comfort level and experience for our clients. Like, people will, at the end of the whole experience, will say like, you guys made us feel so comfortable, and it's so amazing how we feel like we've known you forever. And like that to me is when I leave, like, again, I expect them to get good images, but when I hear things like that, that's when I'm like, we've impacted them farther than just a good photo, and that's a lasting impact that we hopefully then will carry on, and they can do the same thing for someone else. But I really hope that impacts them more than just what they paid for, quote unquote. So, but yeah, we love it, and it's been wonderful. We've had so many great friendships. We are still friends with some of our clients just because of that small gesture, and it's been a blast. We love it. It makes our job not feel like a job.
Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful way to kind of sum it up. And I don't know about you guys, but when we did this with our clients as well, one of the things that it helped on the wedding day with was just the efficiency of the photography, right? Mm-hmm. So the bride and groom, they're familiar with, they're comfortable with the idea, or relatively anyway, comfortable with the idea of the camera being pointed in their direction. Mm-hmm. They have an idea of how you work, how you pose. And so things can flow a little bit more smoothly. And you've got that wedding coordinator in the background kind of hurrying things up. Mm-hmm. You know that you can get done with these images, get great shots, and let them go on to the reception without a whole lot of stress, which is really helpful.
Absolutely. Yep. They just feel comfortable. And
the confidence level
absolutely
in us is there too.
Yeah, they trust you a lot more.
And that translates through to the quality of the images too, absolutely. The way that those images look. Yep. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. Now, we were talking about your kids a few minutes ago. I want to get back to them because I got to your place today, just actually probably about 30, 40 minutes ago, and was greeted by your son, Zeke, who is an incredible personality. Yes, he wanted to give me a tour of your house right away, and I got a very detailed tour of your house right away. It was really awesome. You guys' personalities shine through in them, and I can see that already. But talk to me a little bit about your kids.
Well, they're awesome. Yeah. We... Actually, both our kids were, well, Zeke especially was very unexpected for us because we would say it was quote unquote worst timing ever, but ended up being best timing ever. Okay. But we had literally, Nathan had just quit his job. We had
started photography full time,
moved across the country, and started launching this business and found out about probably 5 months in that we were pregnant.
It was only 3 months in.
Yeah, wow. And we were like, okay, Lord, what is your plan here? This is not what we planned. Yeah. But it's been amazing for us.
We moved right back 3 months later back to Indianapolis because we moved to Louisiana actually.
Yes.
And Ashley has some family down there. And we moved right back. So 2 cross-country moves in 1 year. It's not the easiest thing, not the best way to start a business.
Would not suggest it.
Definitely would not suggest that to anyone. No. But so that took a little bit longer for us to kind of get kick-started again back here in Indy. But we did, and I kept photography as the full-time job and didn't go get another job. And it was a lot of long hours, a lot of hard work putting in to get started back here in Indianapolis.
I think our very first year, we say we made what
$13,000 in 2010.
and we look back and we're like,
and that's when I still had a full-time
survive?
job. Yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
yeah, that's when I still had a full-time job.
Okay.
But then we launched it the next year, though, just hoping and praying that it was going to work out, and it did for us. But
Yeah.
So the next year you went full time?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I just took a big leap of faith. I felt called that that's what we were supposed to do, and I took that leap of faith, and it wasn't the easiest of transitions, especially we've found that I'm a type A, and at the time we had not taken any personality tests, and we talked about this a little bit before we started too. And Ashley is a type
Free spirit.
I don't know what type that is, but
I'm a type
most
free
free-spirited person. And I mean, I think our business functions because of her having that free-spiritedness to just kind of go with the flow and, you know, and wing it. And she's the personality to our business and the face of our business. But at the same time, I'm a type A and had to have everything organized, had to have a folder for everything. And so,
But that also has caused our business to do very well because he is very business savvy.
But we figured out that it was tough to work together in the same office, so we actually split our working spaces. And in our first year, and I had my own office, and she had her own office space. And
Now, talk to me. You said it was tough working together in the same space. What did that look like? Take us there. Take us back.
My desk is piled 3 feet high in papers, chaos.
and she would know where everything is, but I would have no clue.
I'd be like, it's somewhere on my desk. And
and
Nathan's like,
my stress
I'm
level was
going
through the
to
roof,
die.
and you know I was constantly bickering at her and just trying to figure out where stuff was and trying to get organized. And that's just not who Ashley is. And I was trying to change her instead of use her strengths. And so once we kind of learned that, it took like about two and a half years to finally learn what her strengths were, what my strengths were, and how to balance our weaknesses. Then that's when it really started kicking in, and our business really stared taking off
and thriving. Yeah, for sure.
What did it take to get to that point? You said 2.5 years. Was it a lot of conversation? Were you talking with other people? How did you get to that place?
Well, shameless plug. We actually attend Connect Marriage Conference, and that was like transformational for our marriage/business. It's been the best investment we've ever made. It's a marriage conference for couples who work together. It's amazing, and they teach not only on how to run a business with your spouse and balance that, but also it really builds up marriage and just how important marriage is. And it's been transformational in our marriage and business. But that really taught us a lot, because I think that's when we started just hearing the concept of okay, delegate. Don't do the same thing. If you're not good at something, delegate it, or even outsource it. It's okay.
And I think it finally came to that fact that I can admit I'm wrong. And that was the biggest thing. Once I was like, okay, maybe my way isn't the only right way, and that there's other ways to accomplish the same task. That really started to kind of transform stuff too.
And just loosening the reins, because Nathan, he likes to have control of a lot, just because he knows and trusts that if he's in control, it'll get done. Because that is who he is. He does. If he has a goal, he will reach it. And it's hard for him to just let somebody else go with it. And so I think it was a lot of me building trust, as far as yes, I'm a hot mess, but I can accomplish things if you let me in my own way, and so it's just building trust between us of okay, here's things that Ashley's good at, and if I let go and let her do it, she will get it done. And I just can't necessarily watch her in the process.
Because it'll stress you out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but working together and being married is not easy. And it's
I
not
think a lot
for
of
the
married
faint of
couples,
heart.
they struggle with micromanaging. And because you're so close to that person and that, their every weakness, that you tend to micromanage more with your spouse. And so once I stopped micromanaging and just was go with it, I'm not even allowed to go to client meetings, the initial client meetings anymore.
No.
Because I would critique her, because my background's in sports marketing, and marketing is marketing. And so I have a specific way I would like to present ourselves to somebody. And Ashley will just divulge way too much information, what I think needs to be divulged. And
my favorite is I would come home and I'd be like, did I sell it? And he'd be like, well, yeah, but, and I'm like, yeah. I sold it.
Let's stop there.
Yeah, end of story. And he'd be like, I have no comeback for that. So it was good. I mean, it was a good, I do it very different, but I get the job done, you know? And so it's just a learning process and then doing that on top of having our kids home with us all day. It's chaos, but it's wonderful chaos. We would not change it for anything. I mean, nothing.
Now, we were looking earlier at these books that you have on the table, the 5 love languages, and you said this is something that you give to clients as gifts. Did you hear about that book through the conference that you were talking about?
Did we?
I think it was from Zach and Jody Gray, actually, at the conference.
I
think they mentioned something.
I think that's right. I can't remember, but it was transformational for us of just learning, how each of us feels loved, because I feel like you give, if anybody's read the book, basically you give love the way that you want to receive love. So for example, if mine is words, I can compliment Nathan all day long and tell him how great he is, tell him blue in the face, but if that's not how he receives love, then he's going to be like, I don't know, that didn't do anything for me. And it's the same thing. So there's just 5 different love languages, and you figure out what yours are, and you figure out what your spouses are, and learn how to show them love in the way that they feel loved. And it's insane because, once you figure that out, you have the keys to everything for them.
I like to do a lot of chores around the house, thinking that Ashley was gonna, compliment me on that and say great job, that she needed that, but that's not what she needed. So I was constantly doing all these things, whereas all I needed to simply do is write a little letter to her. It could even just say I love you. And then post that on her mirror or something, and that would make her day. And it was so simple. And once I learned to just compliment her more, that really kind of turned our business around and our life around too.
Yeah.
So you're learning to communicate in a way that resonates with the other person,
Absolutely.
Whether it's by tangible action or word, like you were talking about. How does that then translate to the way that you run your business, or how does that affect the business ultimately?
Absolutely. I think it's the exact same because, for example, mine is words. My love language is words. And so in the business, a lot of times Nathan is a fixer, quote unquote. So he is you should just know what you've done right. I want to help you in any way I can to be the best version of yourself. So therefore, that translates into, here's the list of things today that I think that you should have done a little bit better so that you can better yourself for tomorrow. Well, to a words person, I hear, you suck. And then I'm shut down. I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I even trying? This is worthless. There's no point in me even doing the things that I did today if all I'm hearing is...
And I think you use the word hearing, and I think that's the key there, right?
Absolutely.
Because his motive is good.
Yes.
He's not trying to be a jerk, but what you're hearing is something different.
Yep, because it is. It's all about communication and how you made the person feel. And I remember that was transformational for our marriage too, of when you are talking and communicating with each other, saying this is how you made me feel, rather than you did this, because his motives were genuine of, I want to help you be the best version of you. I love you, so therefore I'm going to help you. And I'm like, I don't want to be helped. I want to be told how awesome I am. So, that's been huge, because if he focuses on even if I did 10 things wrong, but I did 2 things right, if he'll compliment me on one of those 2 things, tomorrow I'm going to work so hard to earn another compliment. So I'm going to do everything I can to please him and do well in my job so that the next day I get another compliment. So it's just learning how that other person ticks so that then you can really inspire them to be their best and do their best at work. So it's the same thing for him of I have to work so hard on being organized and really accomplishing, and listening to the things that he needs to get accomplished so that then he then can relax and be the best version of him. So it's just things that we've learned how the other person ticks. And I think it can transpire, and even if you don't work with your spouse, even if you work with employees or other people, learning how those people tick and it's how they feel loved, but also what inspires them is huge.
And it sounds so easy when you say it, but this has been a work in progress since 2010. And I think we finally started getting a workflow and whatnot in 2015. And so, that's a 5-year process of arguments, of, harsh talking, I guess, if you want to say that. I don't know.
To put it lightly.
Yeah.
And, and just trying to figure it out. And so it sounds so easy when you say it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
But when you finally figure it out, it's just like your eyes are just opened, and you're like, makes life so much easier and so much better. But
Well, and a lot of that goes back to, I think, what you alluded to earlier when we were talking, the idea that you're not trying to force this person to be something they aren't, but you're learning to communicate in a way that resonates with them. And that makes a huge difference, and a lot less conflict as a result, too, huh?
So true. So true.
So your kid, Zeke, is 5, and then Ella is 4. Okay.
13 months apart.
Yeah.
Really
Insane.
Yes,
Yeah. Insane.
So what does a day look like with them? What's life with them look like?
Yes. Okay. So every day is a little bit different, but they actually this past couple years have been in preschool 3 days a week, and it's just 9 to noon. So it's not like a huge amount of time of our day, but basically they wake up in the morning. Nathan does breakfast. I'm not a morning person. Nathan is. We've learned that mom does a lot better when she gets a little bit more sleep. So Nathan usually wakes up with the kids, feeds them breakfast. I get up, we get ready, and every single day is different for us. A lot of times, like if we have a wedding, Nathan and I kind of split roles. So like if I have a work day, Nathan's dad for the day. If Nathan has a work day, then Ashley's mom for the day. So we kind of like take at least 2. Usually Tuesdays and Thursdays are my work days, and Nathan knows he's on dad duty, and he takes the kids out of the house, or I go to Starbucks and they stay here, and he's on dad duty for the day. And it's usually about a half day work day, 9 to 2 or 3. But yeah, we just split roles a lot of times. Like we usually at least take 2 days as family days a week, where it's just us and the kids. I still have to answer emails every day. There's small tasks, with work that I have to do every day. But that doesn't take much time, a couple hours of the day. And usually we'll spend those 2 days as a family. We go to the zoo. We like to do adventurous stuff. We're not big stay-at-home people. Yeah. We like to go out, children's museum, zoo, park, things like that. But, yeah, we like to take
What 2 days of the week do you do?
Usually it's Mondays and Sundays. I feel like Sundays and Mondays, because usually we have a wedding on Saturday. We take Sunday, go to church, and then hang out for the day, and then Mondays.
We try not to schedule anything on those days.
Yep. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays are my work days, and then Nathan usually has Wednesdays and Fridays.
And I like to work once the kids go down for bed. So typically I'll just like hang out with them throughout the day, and then I'll start editing or going through stuff, in the evenings, typically around like 9 o'clock. And then I'll go to bed around midnight or 2 a.m. sometimes. Depends how long I want to stay up to work.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it's one thing that we've really learned, and I think has been huge for us, is that like your stereotypical like house roles don't always apply to everybody. And so for us, like Nathan's strengths is like he loves doing stuff around the house and staying organized. That is not good. I'm horrible at it. And for the first few years of marriage, it was like all he knew was his mom is just like him, very organized, and she stayed home, and it was like she does the laundry, she does this, and I would try to do it, and I'd fail, and I hated it. And it's just learning, like, okay, what works for everybody doesn't always work. So, like, Nathan does laundry, Nathan does the grocery shopping, and then I do better with the kids as far as, like, taking them places, doing stuff, getting out of the house. And so, I mean, I feel like one thing that's been huge for us is just getting rid of in our minds the way it should be. Yeah, and just your normal household stereotypes, and making what works for us work, and being okay with that, like Nathan's better at laundry, period. He just is. Like, I'll do it every 2 weeks and nobody off clothes. But Nathan's like, okay, everyone, let's get this organized and get it. So, and that's okay. And that works for our family. So I think that rather than like, this is the only way, it's more of find what works for you, find your strengths, and delegate that accordingly, and divide and conquer, and make your house work for you, and being okay with it being different than maybe what everybody else's is like. So, yeah.
Would you say that you do anything in particular to set yourselves up to have that? Sunday is kind of expected because it's the weekend, but taking Mondays off, do you create some parameters or expectations for your clients that allow you to do that?
What I try to do, it's more of setting expectation for myself, because I'm kind of a workaholic, and I will sit and work if I have a task. And if I can check something off my task list, then I can actually go relax. So I try to, right after a wedding, I'll sit down, cull through all the images that night, and then I'll work on my favorites for the blog post that night, and then I'm done with it. And then I upload it to Photographer's Edit on Monday morning.
Shameless plug.
And then I'll upload the rest of them to Photographer's Edit Monday morning. And then
I think you're actually doing an upload now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm actually working on an upload right now for Saturday's wedding. And I have the blog post done already for from Saturday's wedding, and then I'm free to hang out all week now, And we had a maternity session yesterday morning. It was a little bit different because it's a Labor Day weekend, so people are off on Monday. So they wanted to. We had a maternity shoot and then a senior shoot last night, and they're both done and edited already. And so I just try to stay on top of my work. So a lot of times people let it back up, and then it becomes just like this like overwhelming burden that you have like 10 shoots to edit, and then you have to have a whole editing day. Well, I just try and have a little bit every night that I do, so then I don't have to have that. But.
That's really great. You guys have actually already touched on 2 points that I'm going to present this evening. I'm here, for those of you listening, I'm here to do a short presentation for Shoot and Share and Rising Tide Society, kind of combined group meeting tonight. And we have photographers, other creatives coming to that. But one of the things that I talk about is, first of all, kind of having a goal as to what you want your life to look like. That's where you have to start before you start putting systems into place to function more efficiently. But then putting those systems into place, like you're talking about, having a workflow, a set workflow, a certain way that you do things, and you do it consistently, that then enables you to have that additional free time. That's really key.
And I started practicing last year before we kind of launched into like advertising that we can get you a really quick blog post and, like within 2 days, and then get your images back within 2 to 3 weeks. But I started practicing it last year. And that's, I think, is key too. Don't just implement something all of a sudden without having
not be able to follow
up.
Yeah.
And so I was testing it out all last year, and then I was like, I think we can launch into that in 2016. So then that was a goal. I set that goal for ourselves, and it's so far been working. And we'll see. October, November is going to be a really busy month for us, so we'll see if I can stay on top of that. But yeah, so. It's been great in freeing up our week and being able to hang out with our family more.
Absolutely. And I think that we do give our clients, set expectations. Like we do a 48-hour turnaround time on all emails. So then that gives me a couple days. So if they do send me an email on Saturday, if I respond late Monday, that's okay. So I think things like that. And we are very open and honest with our clients about our family and the priority that our family is. And so I think that they understand, if we go on vacation and we're not available, this is who you hired. And I hope that you respect and know and appreciate us for that, because we absolutely want to be available to you and do everything we can to, please you in the job that you've hired us to do. But at the same time, us and our hearts are our family. And so I hope that that they appreciate us for that. And I think they do. Really they respect that.
We actually had a client buy us a Children's Museum pass as a gift, and they gave it to us
awesome.
on the wedding day. Okay. And so it's just, they knew that our kids are important to us and we want to spend time with them. And so they bought us that. And
I was going to say that probably even, they don't just know, but it resonates with them.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That's really powerful.
Does, that's our goal, is that is set. I want people to see, and I feel like Nathan and our new kind of thing we're passionate about, we're kind of launching into in this next year, is something called the work from home parent, and we're still trying to find a perfect name for it. Yeah, so everyone, if you have any ideas, send them our way. Send them our way. But we're just so passionate about a balanced life and people realizing, I think people think you can have it either one way or the other. Either I can be really passionate about my work or I can be really passionate about my family, and one has to suffer, if you are good at one or the other. And it's no, you can thrive in both. And I want people to see that in our lives, and I want to inspire people. I got the best compliment the other day from one of my friends who's a photographer. I was just telling her about our passion and how we love that, and that's kind of the heart of our business. And she's like, well, I'll tell you, they don't have any kids. And she said, well, you inspire Caleb and I to know that one day when we have kids, we can have both. That encourages us. And I was like, oh, it literally made me teary.
It's great to hear that from people too. Yeah, when you're living it, it's not the most glamorous life.
No,
when you're living
and you don't feel it all the time. Yeah. But it was oh my gosh, that's exactly what we hope for. We hope people follow our lives and see that you can have both. You can have a thriving business that is very successful, and at the same time, you can love your kids and be very present in their life and your family be thriving at the same time. So, yeah.
That's incredible. I think that's a beautiful way kind of to bring this all to a close too. Where can people find you? Tell us your website and how they can get in contact with you.
Absolutely. So right now, we actually are hoping in the next month to be launching the website for this, and we'll be kind of posting it in Rising Tide Society will, I think, be launching it for us, as well as a few other people. But our whole goal is for people to have a resource where they can come and they can really dive in and not feel alone. Because I feel like when we really first got into this industry, it's a lot of couples who do not have children or singles. And it's like, okay, where do we fit?
Well, and we were always like beating ourselves up. Like, we just need to find more time. We just, and it just was, we were comparing a lot. And when you stop playing the comparing game and just focus on you, then that's when you succeed.
I always hear stay in your lane, and I feel like that's the best advice I ever got, is like, stop worrying, stay in your lane, And I think that was huge for us. And it's just like, we want to build a community of parent entrepreneurs who feel like they have people alongside them, building them up, encouraging them, knowing they're not in this alone. Because it's very isolating, and you can feel like, man, you do play the comparison game. Like, man, they have all day, every day to work on their business. Like, I have 3-hour nap time to do mine, So it's very discouraging. And so it's just for us to create a community of people who feel like we're not in this alone. We do want our families to be our priority, but at the same time, like, here's some helpful tips on how to balance family, how to balance work, and that you can have both. So, we will be launching a website soon. We may still be the work from home parent. We're hoping to come up with a name, but so that will be a resource for people. We're going to start giving just free resources away for people to dive in and just get some help, but we want to just let people know we don't have it all together. We never will. If you're a parent, I don't think you ever have it all together. Your kids keep you on your toes at all times, but we want to encourage people that, like, we're in it with you, and we want to create resources that will at least give them, here's the mistakes we made, some things that have worked for us, and how can we help you, and be alongside you and build you up. So, but right now it's thesigners.com, and we're The Signers. It's SINERS. So Sinners.
Looks like the Sinners.
Sinners minus one N, which is terrible, but that's our last name. But so that's where you can find us online, and Instagram, we're on there. Nathan's great to follow. He's Nathan_Signer. He's great to follow. You can definitely follow our kids along there. He's great at posting. I'm way worse. I'm hoping to get better. But it's a fun journey. You can follow our kids, see our adventures as a family, and so.
Well, and I love the focus on building community around parents, photographers who are parents. In the end, so much of life is connection with other people. I appreciate already the opportunity in the last hour and 15 minutes that I've had with you guys to connect. We're going to do more of that tonight, but I think that's really, really powerful. So kudos to you guys for that.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for having this conversation, kind of letting everybody else join in. It's been really, really awesome. And you guys feel free to reach out to Nathan and Ashley. Check them out on their website, Instagram, online. Guys, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening to the Bokeh Podcast. If you'd like to hear a particular photographer or entrepreneur in a future episode, don't hesitate to email me, nathan@photographersedit.com. The Bokeh Podcast is brought to you by Photographers Edit, custom post-production for the wedding and portrait photographer.